Years ago, Justice Antonin Scalia testified before Congress, and he asked and answered the following question: what is it that keeps us free in America? What is it that protects our rights? And he pointed out that many people might answer something like the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. And Justice Scalia laughed at that. He said that answer is objectively incorrect. He said if you look across the globe, there are tyrannies all over planet Earth that have wonderful Bill of Rights written. He pointed out the Soviet Union's Bill of Rights protected the rights in many ways more robustly than does our own Bill of Rights. And yet, of course, in the Soviet Union, if you crossed the government, they'd throw you in the gulag and torture you and murder you. What Justice Scalia went on to explain is what protects our rights here is the rule of law and the structural design of our Constitution that separates power, that prevents power from being unified in one place in government. And any time power is unified, the people's liberty is destroyed, and that has been true throughout the history of mankind. What we are witnessing right now from Senate Democrats is an organized, concerted, deliberate effort to smear, to try to delegitimize, and to try to destroy the Supreme Court. We're witnessing it because they're angry. Senate Democrats are angry that we have a majority on the court that are willing to follow the Constitution and follow the law. And it's important to note that Democrats don't like democracy. If they did, they wouldn't go to the courts and try to force through wildly unpopular left-wing policies that the voters don't want. But today's congressional Democrats are more than willing to trample over the will of the voters, and they want judges to rubber stamp their left-wing views. As a result, the Democrats look at the Supreme Court as the one institution of government that they cannot force a left-wing agenda down. Today's Democrats want to strip Americans of religious liberty. Today's Democrats want to strip Americans of free speech. Today's Democrats want to strip Americans of the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. In fact, some have gone so far as to say they wish the Second Amendment had never been written. Standing in their way are justices who took an oath to the Constitution and who are faithful. So what we're seeing is a concerted effort. As everyone here knows, Chuck Schumer stood on the Senate floor and said that they had released the whirlwind, the justices, and he named Kavanaugh and Gorsuch by name, and they would pay the price if the justices did not rule the way Democrats wanted them to. When a draft of the Dobbs decision was leaked last year, a left-wing writer at Vox, a fellow named Ian Millhiser, tweeted, quote, "Seriously, shout out to whoever the hero was within the Supreme Court who said, F it." And by the way, he didn't abbreviate it. "Let's burn this place down." That's what their angry base is calling for. And tragically, that anger inspired a lunatic to travel from California to Washington, D.C. with guns and knives and rope with a deranged plan to murder Justice Kavanaugh. We've seen angry left-wing protesters protesting at the home of Supreme Court justices, and Joe Biden's Attorney General refuses to prosecute them for the federal felonies they're committing each night. This discussion of ethics, so-called ethics, is a fraud. They have targeted Justice Thomas because they have decided they want to destroy Justice Thomas. They hate Justice Thomas not because his conduct is different from the other 8 justices, but because A, he has voted faithful to the Constitution, and B, he is a black man who dares to be a conservative. And for the modern left, that is the gravest sin of all. The standards they're talking about are applied utterly hypocritically. The conduct they're attacking Justice Thomas for doing, Justice Stephen Breyer did the same thing. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg did the same thing. Justice Sonia Sotomayor have done the same thing. But they don't attack them because this is about politics. And I want to emphasize what Senator Graham just said a minute ago. If we sit by and allow the Democrats to delegitimize the Supreme Court, to tear down the rule of law, Justice Scalia told us years ago, nothing will do more to endanger the liberty of every American. This will not stand.